So this important action that I overlooked, but it's important to the rest of the story, the final story. So you gotta watch and stay tuned. This door right here, this gate, in the daytime I always leave it open when I'm working because, I don't want to feel like I'm imprisoned. But when I came out of the bathroom yesterday in the middle of the day, this door was closed for some reason. Stay tuned. Most of us would not do this. Just leave the door like half open, half closed, or whatever. Because we're too civilized for that, and we don't want mosquitoes, bugs, bees, and just whatever coming into our homes. However, some people are a little different. But again, that's a very important part of this investigation. Rico.toro. Little visit up to Casa Linda. Y'all probably don't believe this, but in all my times here, coming to the Dominican Republic, first time in Casa Linda. So beautiful day out there. So was I slipping? Was I sleeping? Was I caught slipping, sleeping with the enemy? Something like that. So got this guy here holding it down in Casa Linda. No introduction should be needed.
Yeah, man.
Bubba Bucks.
Lord Cash.
Baby lady, baby. Guy.
My ladies, my women's.
Good.
Sit out here.
Couple other cool cats just stopping through. So we're gonna tell you the story though. You saw the little beginning part with I was trying to play Columbo, set it up like an investigation, and that's why it took me a couple days to really wrap this up. Sometimes when a person wrongs you, defrauds you, steals from you, or something of that nature, and in order to shift the blame from themselves, they'll play victim. That eventually happened in the case I'm about to tell you about. After really calling it coming strong at her, I get pictures of her scratched up ass and her son in the hospital with breathing tubes. We were in a bad accident. Or maybe translation, maybe you were having sex on the sidewalk with somebody. I don't know that. But in those cases, you got to remain neutral. You can't, I'm not going to throw salt on anybody's wounds or make them feel worse. But I'm also not going to buy into it and feel sympathetic, especially, if it's just a false tactic to take the pressure off themselves. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Rico.toro again. Start with a like, because you're going to learn something, especially some of you newer travelers. It's taken me like a week to really get into this video because, almost a week, 4 days, because I was waiting on evidence from my landlord, and I was just tired, and I'm dealing with some cardio conditions right now, so it takes me a while to get my words together. This time it's not because I'm beating around the bush, or at least not because it's intentional. And some of you guys like it when I take a long time to get a point across, beat around the bush. But usually it's not intentional. I'm human. I have issues like most of y'all. So I could make it, long story short, my phone was stolen a few days ago. But I'm not gonna do that, because there's more to learn. So, I think it was Tuesday, the pretty girl, I'll call her, because that's basically what the landlord called her when she saw her on the security camera. It's what the nurse or secretary was calling her when she was going to my doctor's appointments with me. Everybody refers to her as the pretty girl. So, the pretty girl who's been rocking with me off and on for like 2 years. You know, I trusted her with my passport and my information to go to Santiago and come back, you know, to make appointments for me, to stay in Santiago and go to those appointments with me. You know, just, you know, she's one of basically 2 or now 3 that are privy to that kind of information of mine. So, Tuesday, I invite her over, and she's cooking. She's gonna cook pollo guisado, just like a boiled kind of way they do it. They season the chicken chicken really well, and plátano maduros, sweet plantains. You know, one of my favorite. So, she's gonna cook a good meal, good, you know, Latin meal, and stay over. So, we stay over, well, we eat, we sleep, we play. The next day, she's kind of just chilling, hanging out, no hurry to go anywhere, no hurry to leave. And, you know, I'm out by the pool a minute, I come back in, do a little more work, you know, it's like early afternoon. She's taking a nap. I finish up a little work. I return like one last message to a friend and put the phone down and decide I'm gonna go take a 15-20 minute snooze next to her. Stay tuned for what I'm going to tell you in a little bit about dumb things guilty people will say here. Yes, stay tuned for that part. You don't want to stay around for that. So anyways, ironically, you know, like I say, she's taking a nap. I go join her for a few minutes. I come back and my phone's not on the desk, not on the table next to the computer where I left it. And I'm really pretty simple when it comes to my movements with stuff like that. The phone is either next to me while I'm working, or it's on the couch with me while I'm lounging. Or it's on the couch, pretty much by the couch, charging overnight. You know, I don't take it everywhere around the house with me. So, it's not there. And my screen door is half open. And I'm like, this is very peculiar. And then, like, I noticed oddly earlier after, you know, going to the bathroom and coming back that the gate was closed, which is unusual because I don't close that in the middle of the day. But I didn't think nothing of it. Maybe I should have. So, it's looking like somebody scaled the fence, climbed the wall, climbed up on my balcony, snatched my phone, and ran. And I'm playing back that song in my head. I always feel like somebody watching me. Gotta get no privacy. So, excuse me. But that's how I've kind of felt like living here for the most part on the first floor. Took me a while to adapt because, you know, I gotta keep the curtains open a little bit, you know, because I like to work from the sunlight. So, I touch base from the backup phone, which I'm filming with now. It was the primary phone, then it was the backup phone, now it's the primary again, for obvious reasons. So I touched base with a couple close friends to let them know to hit me on that number for a while. And then I reach out to the landlord, the owner, I've said it before. The main one involved is the female owner. She's Dominican, in Europe, married to her European husband. She looks at the security cameras all the time. So I'm like, good. So I ask her to look at some time, look at the cameras and whatever. I reach out to my friend that I sent that last message to, and I said, what time was that last message I sent to you from the other number? He said 1:27 p.m. I said, thank you. So I tell her, go back to around from 1 p.m. to like 2 p.m. just to be safe. And this whole time, it appeared that the pretty girl was still asleep. When I last used my phone, sleeping. When I came back out and it was gone, sleeping. Doors open, sleeping. So I'm thinking that it's an outside job or whatever. Try to give people the benefit of the doubt. But it is really hard to get in here. So after reviewing some of the footage, like a day or two later, because it took a while for the landlord to give me the footage to really get into the specific times. That was the hard part. And meanwhile, she's, after some conversation right after it was taken, when she starts talking too much, because she does, I just hand the phone to the nearest Dominican and say, talk to her. Talk to the landlord. Because she'll get away from the initial point and start talking about birds and flowers and the moon and the stars on you. Or, the last tenant left and stole the silverware instead of the actual topic at hand, the emergency at hand. So I'm pretty much, my information, I'm more concerned about my information than the device itself at this point, because I had a ton of photos, videos, banking information, just personal stuff that I didn't want out there. And by the way, it's a good thing. I don't know a whole lot about Android and Samsung and Google devices, but that is a good thing with iPhones is if you got two devices, it's easy to link them up, and you can easily unlink them if needed. You can, like with T-Mobile, I was able to call and have them virtually swap SIM cards, so all the information transferred back to this phone that I didn't want on the missing phone. So, anyways, security camera shows at 1:34 p.m., which was just after I last used it. Apparently, pretty girl is looking to the side on the balcony like she's looking for something or somebody, just looking suspicious. I'm like, she's looking for somebody to pass the phone to. There's an accomplice somewhere. So, after basically calling her out, this was days later, after I got the footage. Now we're getting to the dumb things guilty people say. She says, I call her out basically, and I just tell her it does not look good. I said there's not a lot of video, and it does not look good. There is a reward if you can make my phone walk its way back to my apartment. And she says, my uncle can go with us to the police station and help us get the phone back. And by the way, I tried to find my iPhone and it tracked to a house nearby down the street that was all gated up and looked empty, but GPS coordinates are not exact. They're pretty inaccurate actually on my street from experience when friends try to visit me and things like that. I've learned that. So anyways, can't always go by the technology. So anyways, I'm thinking your uncle can help us get it back. Is that because he's your accomplice? accomplice, uncle, cousin, baby's daddy, whatever. I think that's a guilty person kind of statement, you know. And because he's probably the dude that somehow, even though he was nowhere in the camera, probably the accomplice. Because like I say, I checked her bags, everything when she left, you know, or before that even at one point. And so another thing, you know, and I mean, and sometimes we got to trust somebody. You know, if you deal with, you know, if you're going to live here, be here long term, you got to trust somebody sometimes. And, you know, I've known guys married, you know, 5-6 years, or living with a woman 5-6 years, you know, didn't meet the girl on the street, and I didn't meet the pretty girl on the street. You know, they didn't, you know, everything seemed relatively normal. And then next thing you know, they've been with this person forever, and they go to a barber shop and come back and their house is cleaned out. It's like sometimes they're just gonna snap, whether it's physical violence, whether it's you know, theft, or try to set you up, whatever. Sometimes they're just gonna snap. I'm sorry to say it, but that's just the reality or how I feel that. But on the flip side, you know, you can't live like an uptight, miserable prick all the time. Can't lock. I mean, I locked the obvious stuff down. The backup phone always stayed hidden. I never waved around both of them like, look at me, I got 2 iPhones. But, you know, I never wave around or leave out like large amounts of cash. But, you know, you got to trust somebody sometime. That's all I'm saying. You know, you got to protect yourself, but also, you know, like I say, you can't do everything. You can't do everything just for yourself always. Sometimes you need help from people, and you're gonna have to trust them sometimes. So, you know, another story similar to that, as far as the things guilty people would say, you know, comes from my brother Miguel, who's in Thailand now. So shout out to Miguel. So he was living in Sosua for a while, and he had like 5,000 pesos stashed, which is just below $100 US, for reference, for those that don't know. Stashed in like a throw pillow, one of the zip-up throw pillows. You know, it was like in his spare bedroom, the guest room. And all of a sudden, he noticed it's missing after he had company. So immediately, he calls out the perp. Let me use the word perp, police talk. So he calls out the perp, and deny, typical Dominican response. So he's just like, all right, well, I'm done with you. Peace out. And a couple days go by. She's trying to get in good with him subtly. He's like, nope. And then she says, I have an idea how I can help you get the money back that was lost or came up missing. Translation: I'm going to give you some discounted time and services till you feel I've satisfied the debt. See? Guilty people, they have some funny ways of expressing themselves and wording things, you know, and you just got to know, well, now I'm helping you, so you know sometimes the clues of when they're actually telling on themselves. So thumbs up again if you hadn't already. Subscribe, because you just got a gem. Rico.toro.